Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Thursday, 26th of March. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about a Japanese ground self-defense force soldier has broken into the Chinese embassy in Tokyo. Iran's foreign minister has denied talks with the US and called negotiations an admission of defeat. And the UN is pushing for an emergency plan for Cuba amid US talks. So firstly, Japan on Wednesday condemned the actions of an active duty self-defense force soldier or officer who broke into the Chinese embassy in Tokyo a day earlier, with the government's top spokesperson saying the incident was deeply regrettable. In a statement, they said that an investigation is progressing, additional details are expected to emerge, and we will take the necessary measures in light of those findings to prevent such an incident from happening again. They also said additional police officers have been deployed to beef up security at the embassy. On Tuesday, the officer, who is Kodi Murata, was arrested by the Tokyo Metropolitan Police after he was found by embassy staff trespassing on the grounds of the compound in Tokyo's Minata ward. So what? I mean, it's possible that this is a cover for a failed intelligence operation who was basically rumbled by the Chinese staff at the embassy. But it's also possible it's just the actions of one man who wanted to do something against China, who is their perceived national enemy. It's almost certain that this is going to damage the already fragile relations between the country. There's already some pretty harsh statements coming out of Chinese news outlets as to what this man was up to. They mostly claim the first possibility that I stated. And it's given China a massive propaganda win, both domestically and internationally. China has already been, making lots of statements against Japan, their military buildup, and their alliance with the US. And stuff like this, especially at the domestic audience, just gives them more to talk about, saying that, Japan is out to get them, etc., etc. So, it's given them a massive win on that front. And next, the Iranian foreign minister has said that Tehran did not plan to negotiate with the United States and that Iran would keep fighting. In the statement, he said, at present, our policy is the continuation of resistance and that we do not intend to negotiate. So far, no negotiations have taken place, and I believe our position is completely principled. Speaking of negotiations now is an admission of defeat, he added. The announcement on Iranian state TV after the US President Donald Trump said that Washington had proposed a 15-point peace plan following a report of Iranian conditions for the stopping of hostilities. So what? I mean, this is just further signs that the conflict is a long way from over. It's likely that Trump will not like these comments and that he may conduct his, offensive operations that he threatened Iran with earlier now that they've made a statement such as this, which, will just continue to escalate the tit-for-tat conflict that's been going on. It's also possible that there is back-channel talks, but Iran just doesn't want to publicly acknowledge them as it could be seen as weakness to the domestic audience specifically. And it could be a propaganda win for the US saying that, Iran is ready to buckle, etc. And they want to appear strong at this point. And lastly, the United States has proposed an action plan for the crisis-hit Cuba, which involves tracking fuel use amid talks with the US to allow energy resources for humanitarian aid, an official said on Wednesday. A $94.1 million plan was proposed to keep critical services running for the country's most valuable, said the UN coordinator for Cuba. Washington and Havana are in the early stages of talk, said the Cuban president on Wednesday, and added that even the former Cuban leader, Castro, has been involved. So what? While I see the US's strategic plan here, they should really allow, essential aid to come in for the Cuban people, especially to give fuel to hospitals. That to me is pretty diabolical that they're not allowing enough fuel to keep the lights on in a hospital. It's a pretty hard thing to sell both internationally and domestically that, you're doing the right thing here. But that is the way. It's possible that they could reach a negotiated settlement. There's talks of, what it's not specific what the two countries have been talking about, but I think the main goal here for the US is to get out foreign influence, particularly Russia and China, who almost certainly use the place as a base for surveillance. And lastly, I don't think Trump will take too kindly to the UN getting involved here. He has a particular gripe with the UN for multiple reasons. But yeah, I think he will probably come out and say some interesting stuff over the next few days. Or he'll just not comment on it at all. Nobody really knows with Trump. That is the trouble. Anyway, that's been your Intel Brief. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Oh, please like, share, and subscribe. I need to say this more. Cheers. Bye.